opposite of Amber's class, so I'm trying to not. So. Hi, I'm Becca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca.
Oh, that's creative. Maybe I'll listen in. Well, what brings you in today?
I want to talk about my ex and my current relationship
Okay.
situation going on. So to preface it, my ex and I dated for 5 years. It was a very long and official relationship. We did everything together with my friends and their husbands and boyfriends. We did it all through college, year before college, and then all through college. And then he broke up with me because he felt that my successes made him look bad because he was falling behind and everything.
Okay.
So we broke up, and that was really difficult. That was this past August. And I never heard from him again. He took me to my favorite restaurant. We had dinner. And then he broke up with me, walking me to my car. Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't heard from him since then. That was in August, around November, I guess it was. No, October. Had this fling with this random guy. And we ended up seeing each other a little bit, but then it felt like he was just really clean. Broke things off in January. And he was a great guy, like, absolutely great guy, but it just wasn't, I don't know, I guess it was too soon after my last relationship. So then broke it off in January. In February, this whole spiral disaster happened with this new guy. This new guy's name is Zach. I went over to his house with my friend, and his fiance at the time was out of town. And he has 2 young kids. They're 3 months and 12 months, I want to say, or 13 months. And we just hung out with the kids, and then, like, my friend and I left. And he made a comment to my friend that he thought I was really cute, and I thought absolutely nothing of it because he has a fiance, naturally. And so then in February, he texted me saying that him and his fiance had broken up. And we just texted for a little bit, and then he went to get coffee. So we got coffee, and for about 3 weeks talked on and off, and of course he told me him and his fiance had broken up, so I think, okay, fine, whatever. We went out to the bar with the friend that I went to the house with in February.
Okay.
I know it's a lot to follow, but
Yeah.
my dramatic life. So we went to the bar and had a bunch of people with us, and we were like kissing, making out, whatever. Go back to my apartment, and my friend like wouldn't leave. She's like, no, I don't want to leave you two alone. Like, Zach has a fiance. And I was like, no, like, they're broken up. And she's like, no, he has a fiance. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Like, we went back and forth. My friend ended up calling the fiance, telling her that Zach was at my house and that he was going to spend the night there. Gave the fiance my address. And this is a girl I've known since I was 6 months old, like,
Your friend?
my whole life, yeah. And so the fiance came to my house, stormed through my house. And it's like so terrible, but like looking back at it, my roommate's just like in person, because she went up to my roommate's room looking for me, whipped the door open, and started screaming, "Where's Becca?" And like, my friend has a dog that attacks people, so the dog went lunging at her. Whole thing. So the girl left, and mind you, the girl left her house, left the 3-month-old and the 13-month-old at her house by themselves to come to my house. Yeah. So apparently, according to Zach, they were like in the process of breaking up. Who knows?
Okay.
So I told him, I was like, this is too much drama, like, I can't handle it, like, I'm not, like, you figure yourself out, and then whatever. So fast forward like 2 weeks, he texted me, and usually he would text me like we always talk through Instagram or Twitter, which I should have thought was weird, but like that's just what we did, whatever. But so he texted me from his like phone, like his phone number, which I thought was weird, and I was like, why are you talking me through here? And he's like, well, Brianna, which is the fiance, totally broke things off with me, and she is now dating the guy that she cheated on Zach with like a year ago.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, like, I don't, whatever, because he told me this before. Apparently he's moved out living with his parents now, and the ex-fiance, I guess, is still living in their apartment that Zach's paying for until she can move out. And now he wants to like hang out again and like have an actual relationship. And I'm so conflicted about it, because when we ended things, when like around the time when Brianna came storming through my apartment that whole time, previous to that, he was saying stuff to me like he wanted like a life with me, a family, like all this stuff. And then when Brianna came storming through the apartment, he was like, well, I think our fling was just for me to fill a void. And so then it felt like everything was a lie. And like there was so much like backstory to us that like my ex of 5 years broke up with me, so then I was just kind of like anyone that gives me attention, like to get over him. I felt like I clung to. So then I clung to him, and then he had all this issue with his fiance at the time. So then he was telling me stuff that like apparently he didn't really mean. But now all of a sudden they're broken up, and now he wants an actual relationship with me. It's just quite the dramatic situation. And the smart part of me is telling me like, well, is that even worth it? Like just like there is another guy. Like I've learned that like there is other people, but I don't know. There's like something with him that I like keep going back to. So I don't know. That's a lot, I know.
No, you're good. Thanks for explaining it all.
Yeah.
So you had like a thing with him, but then he like told you.
He told me it was like all like a lie, and it was just him filling a void. And then he, too, that really upset me. He was like, and I really think that you were just using me to fill a void, which like, I guess I could have been, but at the same time, like I really did like him. Like it was far enough after my ex that I think my feelings were more than just like sleeping together, but at the same time, it was closer. So it could have been like a mix of the two, but he like put feelings in my mouth almost to like justify what I don't know, like that really bothered me. But yeah, he said he was just filling a void. Like I was just fine. I was like, okay. Like
so you're like conflicted about him going back and forth, but then also like him like almost telling you what to think. So you're trying to figure out like what you actually think.
Right, exactly. And like it's not like it's just a normal relationship with him and his ex either, because like they have 2 kids. Like that's going to be the next 18 years that like he could go back. Like I mean there's more attachments with her than I think a normal situation, which makes me nervous too, because like she's always going to be in his life for at least 18 years.
Yeah.
You know?
So you know this isn't like they broke up and now I can just like be with him. Like it's
there's always going to be like something, and like he's always going to see her, and their relationship seemed very toxic. Like, and of course I'm only hearing his side, but it seemed very abusive, like on her end, and I know he has issues that he's trying to work out with drinking and stuff, and he's going to counseling for that now through his church, and so he's trying to deal with that, which is good. So hopefully like that helps some of the situation. I don't know. Yeah.
So there's like a lot of factors.
There's a lot like contributing to it, and I don't know. And this week like he wanted to take me out on a date, which like we've never like done like an actual date. So that like feels like effort, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I still don't know. Like
is it effort? Like what?
Well, before it was mostly like just hooking up kind of thing and going to the bar like occasionally, like, but I don't really count that as a date. That's like going out and drinking, and but yeah. So he wants to like actually take me to like dinner, like a movie or something, which feels like, because after the whole void thing, we kept talking for a little bit, but it was more just like hooking up, sex, text, like that kind of stuff. And so now it seems like he's separated that and gone back to like relationship mode, which is super confusing, because then it was like relationship, hookup, relationship. So now it's going back and forth a lot.
So there's this piece with his ex who like you have some interaction with because she went storming through your house one night.
Yeah.
And then her like individual issues of like the damage that was in the relationship with her, and then like her kids. And then there's this piece of like him essentially like lying about kind of what he was feeling and now going back on that. Yeah. So like what is he really like trying to do? And then like he's switching from this is how the relationship was to this is how he wants it now.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And the whole lying part I think is the biggest issue to me, because I take like feelings very seriously, which I would think you would too, and I don't know if part of me wants to think, well, he said those were all lies just because he wanted it to work with his ex, because it is like the mother of his kids. I mean, I know he wanted that to work, but clearly it wasn't. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Because he goes back and forth so much. I don't want him to go back again.
Right.
If, you know, I don't know.
So it feels like he's lying. It's hard to trust where he's
Yeah,
at.
and I don't know what he's saying is like real or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he just saying that so we can hook up again, or is he being serious and wants a relationship? Like,
yeah.
And it's so soon. Like, the official breakup, from as what I can tell, has been like 2 weeks maybe. Like, it's very new, especially for someone that you're so invested with that you have like kids with. Like, that's it's not just like I don't want to say a regular relationship, but like a less involved relationship where you're just dating. Like, it's they were gonna get married. Like, that was they were a lot more involved. So it's a lot more of attachment to her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So he just moved out 2 weeks ago, and he
Mhm.
wants to take you on a date now, like this week?
Yes, this week we were talking about it, and maybe this weekend, I might just go. Like, I don't know, because I feel like at this point it's been so damaging that, like, how much more can it hurt? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then I think he really is moved out, and the other girl, because they took like the official engaged thing off Facebook, so so I'm assuming that's actually over this time. But that was the thing too. That night we went to the bar. So Taylor, the girl that called the ex to give her my address, she was there, and then my best friend Alex and her at the time, husband. I'm trying to think if they were married yet at the time. Husband, were there, and we were all like. It's a big thing. She's been my best friend for so long that, like, her husband, it's a big thing, like, when I talk to a guy, if they're going to get along. Because we hang out so often that, like, we bring the guy around Zach. Well, her husband's also named Zach, so gets more confusing. We bring those or people around Zach so we know if they're going to, like, get along so we can all hang out. So our Zachs, as we were calling them at the time, like, got along perfectly. Like, you would think they grew up together and were, like, best friends for their whole life. They had such a fun night. And the bar that we go to is right near my house and my parents' house, so we both go. So of course my family comes barreling in, like my stepdad, my mom, my cousins, and my brother, and they all meet my Zach, and like all loved him, and so it's like they got involved, and everyone loved him. So like that just is annoying too, because it's like everyone likes him, and now I don't know if he's like real or not, if he's being genuine or not, which makes it worse. I just want it to work. Yeah. And I think I'm grasping for that more too because of my ex. Like, I dated him for so long that, like, we never had issues until we broke up. Like, which sounds really dumb to say, but we really just never fought. Like, we lived together at college. Like, everything worked. And I never had any doubt in my mind that I would ever be with anyone else. So, like, he was my person. And then we broke up, and now I'm just, like, I was already ready for that, to, like, spend the rest of my life with someone, that now I'm just, like, annoyed that I have to do it all again. I just wanted to work with someone. It's a lot. Yeah.
So you almost want to go on the date with Zach to see
and just, like,
if it's going to...
Yeah. And I just want to know, like, I don't want to be strung along. Like, I want it to work or, like, get over it and move on.
Yeah. So one way or the other.
Yeah.
Just have, like, a definitive...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's confusing for you, and it's confusing for your, like, because you're taking friends and family into account now, too, because they've all met him.
Yeah, and it was so awkward, like, my brother met him, too, and we do family dinners on Sundays at my mom's house, so it was me, my mom, stepdad, and my brother. And my mom, I guess, she's just is nosy, was creeping on Zach's Facebook, at the time saw he was engaged, and so she brings it up to me. And this was when I knew they were separated, but wasn't like on Facebook, which should have rung in my head as something weird. But so she brings it up to me, and I got like so uncomfortable, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, like he doesn't get on Facebook, like I was so weird about it. And my brother jumped in real quick and like brought something up about work and tried to distract them for me. So thank God for him. But so it's just like, he doesn't look the best to my mom now because of that. But I haven't told her the whole, like, Brianna storming through my house thing, or like,
Yeah.
just in case, because you know, once moms don't like them, like it's done. Like once one bad thing happens, it's done for that. So
does your brother know the whole story?
yes, my brother lives with me, and my best friend were the roommates. So when she came like barreling through, woke my brother up, and then they were out front like screaming at each other. It was not a classy scene. It was rough. Yeah. And it was like 3 a.m. Oh God, it was terrible. Yeah.
So he's been involved in the whole.
Yeah. And my brother isn't like your typical brother that would like now hate Zach and want to like beat him up, like the whole like protective thing. He doesn't. So he just kind of like listens to me, but doesn't. Like, I don't think he would care if Zach came back around, kind of thing. Like, my friends would probably be mad, but because they're not too crazy about him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been conflicting.
Yeah. So your brother probably wouldn't care. Your friend's husband, like, they got along, but like your friends, like, don't.
They don't like him because of the whole going back and forth thing. They're kind of iffy with that. My other roommate, her name's Morgan, she knows a lot more of the situation, so she doesn't really like him. But my other friend, Alex, the one that's married to Zach, the one that went to the bar that night, I fill her in, but not as much detail, I guess you'd say, because she's still friends with Taylor. Taylor, like, we were all good friends, but since then I haven't talked to Taylor since that night, because I just thought that was really crappy that she called Brianna and was like, hey, here's Becca's address, come here and like storm through her house and, you know, do all of that. So I haven't really talked to her, but I just don't. I mean, I trust Alex, but I don't know. So I don't want anything getting back to Taylor that about really my life or like what's going on with Zach or anything like that until I'm ready to be telling people about it, I guess. Yeah.
So there's certain people that you feel comfortable with and certain people that you're like, not as much.
Yeah. I don't really want everyone knowing. And I've been like that with many relationships. Like, I just don't like telling everyone about them until they become like super serious, like especially my mom. But for some reason, every relationship lately, like I've been like, I'll barely be speaking to the guy, and then we go to the bar, and then my mom shows up. So like, she's been meeting people like really early in the relationship, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but then she gives her input real quick, you know, before I even really know them. So.
Do you have the mom sense coming in?
Yeah. Yeah, which can be a little difficult. She's very opinionated, and I trust her, but I don't know. I have to get to know the guy a little better too. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of friends that have opinions, but then you're still trying to figure out what your opinion is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So.
I'll have to try to decide.
Yeah. Still working on it. Yeah.
And there's still this like baseline sense of, hey, like I was almost, almost ready to be married.
Yeah.
And so now I just want that back.
Yeah. And it's 5 years is just so long to like get to know someone and be in that routine with them, and the thought of doing that all again, like I want it, but it's still like that's like so much right now. Like, it was nice at the point I was with my ex because we were graduating undergrad and just kind of like we already were established and then starting like jobs and grad school and stuff, so it was less stress because we were already like doing a thing. But now it's like meeting someone new and going through the whole new thing still while doing like new jobs and like new grad school, and it's a lot of new now that I have like stress of handling everything. Yeah.
That sounds like a lot to have on your plate at one time.
Yeah, definitely. So trying to make it work.
So you've been in the new job, like grad school field since August?
I started, well no, I guess more like June. As soon as I graduated, I started a new job, and then I did summer grad.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been since then. And then like in August is when my ex broke up with me. So it was still kind of new into all those things, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
It's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Cool. this, like the breaking up and then dating the other guy, you dated him for what, 2 weeks?
It was
Or
a
2
few
months?
Yeah, about 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
That was. I feel like I went right into that because of breaking up with my ex. Like I just kind of like was like, oh, this cute guy's giving me attention. Like sure, like kind of went with it, and like I said, he was sweet and like a great guy, but just didn't have that like connection. Like I didn't really feel anything with him. But he was like head over heels like in love with me, and so then when I broke up with him, it was like a huge like dramatic fit. Like he like on Facebook was like saying how he could die and like just he was the saddest he ever been. Like it was a very dramatic situation, and I tried to explain to him like even through our relationship, I told him like, well, I just broke up with this guy, like we're moving a little fast for me, but he didn't really get it. I guess he was at that point ready to like find the person to like get married for the rest of his life, be with, and I wasn't there yet, like just getting out of that relationship. So, and I'm still friends with the guy, like for a period we weren't, but like recently we've become friends again, so I'm glad because his dad is friends with my stepdad, so like he was still around, so I really wanted things to be civil just to avoid that like awkwardness.
Yeah.
So I am glad we were able to like be adults by the end of it. Definitely not at first, but
No, that's really good. Yeah. So you were able to kind of work through some of the drama from that.
Yes.
Heal that
Yeah.
relationship. And
Yeah. So I'm glad we were able to get to that.
Was that all before Zach?
Yes. Yeah. He, the 2-month guy ended, I want to say beginning of January. It was right around his birthday, terribly enough. But, and then Zach started like a month later. I think it was like the beginning of January with that guy, and then the beginning of February, I met Zach.
Yeah.
So
it's been like a month and a half almost too.
Yeah. So it's still new enough, but new enough that it could end and I wouldn't be that hurt, but like long enough that we could move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at that like middle line where I don't know. Maybe we'll find out this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay. Sweet. So, I want to talk more about like the decision of like going on a date and not going on a date like next week and kind of see what that looks like.
Okay.
So, can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So thanks so much for sharing your story.
Of course.
So definitely.
Yeah. Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
Talking about everything.
Yeah, awesome.
Great.
I'll see you next week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.